Elliot.
I'm Phineas.
And we're the Peters Bros, and we are going to review Cars 3. This is a spoiler-free review, so there's no need to worry. We will talk spoilers in a later review, and when we post that, the link will be in the description box below, but you'll have to wait until tomorrow, unless you're in the future. Okay, so let's talk about the movie. Overall, was it better than Cars 2? That's the question that everyone wants to know. Answer it.
Oh yeah.
Yes, it was better than Cars 2. There's a trend that has been emerging in recent years in film where people are craving nostalgia. And films find this window back to the past and nostalgically remember, it's like a little trip down memory lane. And Cars 3 very much is a trip down memory lane. It references back to the first film, it talks about the first film a lot, and it feels quite a bit like the first film.
The one thing they didn't do was acknowledge Cars 2, and of course everyone was probably very happy with that. I personally thought...
Look, siren.
There's also an airplane over there.
And here comes the siren again. This is what happens when we film with the window open.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Cars 2 was not a terrible movie, it just did not live up to the first Cars, and that was one of my greatest concerns with the third film, was that it was going to be too much of a continuation of the second film. But what they did instead was they completely did not acknowledge the second film, and that was fine. They could have had one reference just to show you it was still canon.
I kind of find it annoying when a film series will kind of hush up this one portion of the franchise that they don't want anyone to know about.
The biggest differences I can see with the three movies are, since the first film was quite character heavy, it wasn't too character heavy, but a large portion of the film was based on Lightning's character development, realizing racing isn't about winning, sort of a cliche thing, but really well done. And the second film was extremely plot-heavy under the excuse of, oh, it's about Mater and Lightning's friendship, but it really wasn't.
The first film, most of it takes place in this tiny little town where nobody's doing anything. It's a little limbo point between these two portions of the story, these two benchmarks, and during the whole, middle section of the film, the entire second act, we're just waiting for Lightning McQueen to finish making that road. And he's discovering things about himself along the way, but we're not really going anywhere, and it works. Something that I really noticed as differentiating the third film from the second film is that we get Randy Newman back as the composer. During the second film, the score, it's a fantastic score, was written by Michael Giacchino, one of my favorite composers. But the third film has Randy Newman again, and Randy Newman wrote the music for the first Cars film. He's an incredible composer, and he did a lot of the early Pixar films, so that sound and that feeling that he's able to capture makes this feel like one of the older Pixar films.
That's very true. When you're making a sequel, you need to capture the feeling of the original film. And a great way to do that is with music. Having John Williams do all the Star Wars movies, that was the one thing that tied every one of them together.
The two leading players who are added to the storyline, new characters that we've never seen before, are Cruz Ramirez and Jackson Storm. And going into this movie, I thought from the trailers that I was kind of gonna find Cruz Ramirez annoying. I thought she was going to be kind of like a new comic relief character who wasn't funny. But then watching the film, I actually ended up loving her character. From the voice talent portraying her to the animation and her character arc, she's really great. So I would not worry. For any of you out there who think that she's going to be annoying as well, she's actually a really great character, and you'll see why.
Speaking of characters giving stuff that I didn't expect, I really enjoyed how much this film made you care for Lightning's character.
Yeah.
In the first film, he was a jerk at the beginning, and his character arc was making you like him throughout the film, but he started out as a lovable character. Yeah. And they did a good job with bringing out different sides of him, still staying true to who he is, and I really appreciate that.
Something that I found really impressive about this movie was that they raised the stakes very, very early on in the film. And they stay at that point throughout the whole thing. So it's not the stakes that increase the tension, and yet somehow the tension does ramp up over the course of the movie, even though the stakes stay pretty much the same from the beginning to the end.
I'm very happy with how unpredictable the film was as well, because a film like this with such a... It was very much a racing movie, but it wasn't. That was the strange thing, was that, especially in all the previews, I was like, this is just gonna be about cars racing and how... Who's gonna win the race? We were talking about how character heavy this film actually is, with such a plot heavy premise.
Through watching the trailers, it seems like the big question asked during the movie is going to be, who's going to win the race?
Mm-hmm.
But when you watch the film, you learn that the big question that they are asking is actually much deeper and much bigger than you could possibly have imagined through just watching the trailers. And I thought that was really cool and really well done.
Okay, let's rate this film.
Okay, 1 out of 10. What are we going to rate it?
7.5.
7.5. 7.8.
7.9.
7.8.
8.
7.8.
7.8.
7.8.
7. Okay, yeah, that's what we're going with.
Very unusual rating for a movie. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up, comment below, share this video with your friends, family, and ancestors, subscribe, and don't forget to tell your enemies that we are awesome.
Also, once our spoiler review is uploaded and you have seen the movie, go check that out. Links are going to be in the description box as soon as it exists.
In the description box below.